All right, guys, our next guest is the number 4 ranked lightweight in the UFC with a huge fight coming up against Donald Cerrone on UFC on ESPN Plus 8. It's a pleasure to welcome Raging Al Iaquinta back to his home at Submission Radio. Al, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad we made this work. I was a little out of it after jiu-jitsu practice tonight, but we made it happen. Thank you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
The viewers won't know this, but Al spent like 15 minutes building a contraption, getting the Skype ready, getting the angle right. No one's ever this nice to us. No one ever put this much effort.
I had to download Skype. It's on a shoebox on top of a box set of Game of Thrones on the table, leaning up against a salt and pepper shaker. We made it happen. For you guys. I that's how much I love being on the show, and you guys are the best. So thank you so much for having me.
How nice is that? I want to hear Bruce Buffer introduce you as the MacGyver of MMA when you take on Donald Cerrone. Got to ask, normally when we interview you, I think, I don't know if you're at your house, but you've sometimes got like a real estate background. Where are you joining us from now? You look like you're... Yeah, where are you?
I'm at my parents' house right now. We got the Islanders, the New York Islanders. They're hopefully going to sweep the Pittsburgh Penguins right here. They're up 2-1. Pittsburgh is and now my dad's yelling. My dad's watching the game. He's saying, "Talk to them. We'll talk to them." Oh, man, we got this.
I was gonna say you look like you're at parents' house. Is your mom the kind of mom who like cooks like a classic Italian dish? Is that why you're there, Al? Are you there for the food? Be honest.
Yeah. You called me out. That's why I'm here. No, I love coming here. They always have good, healthy food. They're always making good, healthy food, and they look out for me. So after training, especially now the Islanders are playing, my family's always been big Islander fans, and they haven't been too good in recent years, and they're looking pretty good right now. So it's exciting stuff.
Well, while we're getting your reaction to different things, give us your thoughts on UFC 236. In particular, this battle between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight belt. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a very exciting fight. It was just nonstop back action the whole time. I think Max it seemed like he lacked the power that Dustin had. Every time Dustin would connect, it would hurt Max, and especially in the early rounds. And then I have to watch it again because I was watching with a bunch of people. I was into it, but I like to really sit down by myself and watch it and hear the commentating and everything. But it just seems like Max didn't have the power that Dustin had, and Max was content on just boxing. And when the boxing didn't work out, kept with the boxing. He didn't really have. It didn't look like he had a plan B. There was no other. There was nothing else, just that. So, I thought Dustin won the fight. I think the shots that Max landed really didn't hurt him at all, but Dustin definitely put him in trouble a few times.
What do you think it does for the division now that Dustin is the interim champion, and kind of seems like things are moving along a little bit in lightweight?
Yeah, it seems like they're gonna fight in September, and then keep rolling on from there. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. The division was all crazy, and now I guess it's kind of getting some structure. So it's exciting, and I'm enjoying seeing what's going on above me and looking forward to. I have tremendous respect for both Dustin and Max, but I really think that if I was in there, either way, I think it would have been a good night for me.
Well, people are talking about Dustin, that he might have the right skill set to beat a guy like Khabib. What do you think? Do you think he could get it done if the fight does go down between him and Khabib in September?
He's you never say never, but I would think Khabib with the wrestling, that's a huge X factor. That's something Max didn't really have. Even when you're just worried about the wrestling, that opens up Khabib's striking. His striking is good. He's got a unique style, and the wrestling he knocked Conor down. You would never think that would happen, but that really is set up all because of his wrestling. He can get the guy worried about the wrestling and then switch it up to kind of fake the takedowns, come over the top, stuff like that. He's got a couple different layers to his game, and I think that's a huge problem to deal with.
What would be the better scenario for you, Al? If Dustin comes out on top, you get a fresh face, a guy that you've never been able, or you never had the chance to prepare for. But if Khabib wins and retains, like a lot of people expect, you get that rematch that you've always wanted. What would you rather between Dustin and Khabib?
I'd want to train for Khabib, get that one back. I think that's the fight that I really want to. I hopped in there. I'd never been in a 5-round fight. It happened so quick, and I was fighting a guy that was at the top of his game for a very long, at the top of the game for a very long time, undefeated, undisputed. So I was thrust into there, and maybe I wasn't as ready as I should be, but now I know I'm ready. I don't make the same mistake twice, never. So I think that things will be a lot different. Even if I did get the fight on a day's notice now, it'd be way different.
How would you see it sort of going differently? The Al today getting that fight compared to the Al that had the fight with Khabib back then?
I think my wrestling is I wasn't really training for a wrestler. I think my wrestling's up there, and people don't, especially my timing with the takedowns. There was a few times where I even got it in on Khabib, and I didn't follow through with that. It's only going to take a few small changes to really make that fight a big difference. And the one thing will definitely be the confidence in my cardio to go 5 rounds, because now that would be an advantage. At the time, I didn't think it was an advantage. I was only training for a 3-round fight, and I wasn't pushing the pace. I was not exploding out of some positions because I wanted to save a little bit in case it went the distance. But now I know that the cardio, the 5-round, I'm a 5-round fighter. The longer the fight goes, the better I am. And I think that is something that definitely plays into my favor.
Just quickly, while we were just talking about UFC 236, in the back in the media room, Justin Gaethje spoke to the media there, and he mentioned that you won't fight him and that you're scared of him. What do you make of those comments? Did you see those comments from him? And what do you make of him sort of saying that?
I did. I saw it. It's I'm definitely not scared to fight anybody. You know what I mean? I'm not scared. But what I am scared of is not getting paid the right amount of money for a fight. Like I have a number for what I'm worth, and if they're not going to pay me, which they weren't, I'm not going to fight. And if I'm taking a fight on shorter notice than I want, and I'm coming off a fight with injuries, then I'm going to ask for more money. It has nothing to do with my opponent. It has to do with me. So I'm not scared to fight anyone. I think that, he kind of made himself look a little stupid, because I think the people know that I'm not afraid to fight anybody. But what I won't do is undervalue myself. And Justin Gaethje is a guy that talked a lot about what he wanted as far as his contract. And, he's not getting what he wants, but he still goes in there and he still fights the way he fights, but he's not getting paid what he wants. And I think that he's doing himself a tremendous disservice in the way he handles himself in that regard. So, I think maybe he should be a little more scared and maybe it would benefit him financially because he wants to get paid all his money up front. You know, I think if I was managing Justin Gaethje, he would have what he wanted, but I don't think you know, he wanted to do it his way, and it's worked out for him so far. So good for him. But if he really wants what he wants, he's gotta be the one that he sounds a little scared.
You mentioned short notice. When did the UFC want you and Gaethje to actually fight each other?
It was after the Khabib fight. I had pulled. There was something in my shoulder. I had a what is it? Labrum, like a slight labrum tear. Nothing. I didn't need surgery or anything, but I did get PRP injections. And then they came to me about the fight, and I gave them a number, and they weren't really matching me on the number, and I started training for the fight, and my shoulder just wasn't holding up. You know, if they would have paid me enough to kind of you know, make it worth it for me, I would have pushed through it. But there's a lot of stress that goes into this thing, and you know, to take a fight. Not that it was like really short notice, but coming off a fight like that with Khabib and having the injuries that I had, getting the PRP injections and getting paid not what I wanted to get paid, it all goes into the equation. You know what I mean? And the equation just wasn't in my favor. So it is what it is. I don't care about Justin Gaethje. I care about myself. And you can say I'm scared of him, but I'm not. I think everyone knows I'm not scared. I go in there and freaking a day's notice with the toughest guy in the division. I'm not scared of anybody. So he made himself look a little stupid with that remark. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, when the pay came out for UFC 236, fans kind of got reminded how little a lot of the fighters got paid for the wars that we saw. And a lot of people were sort of, I guess some fans were upset that Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum and Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway didn't really get paid that much for a fight that probably took years of their life. Especially a guy like Israel, who's fought 6 times in a row, and it looks like the UFC is trying to get him to come back in August and fight again after that brutal fight with Kelvin Gastelum. Do you sort of have some advice for some of these guys in terms of doing similar stuff to what you're doing and sort of getting paid what they deserve for these kinds of wars that can sort of change them going into the future?
No, I don't really have any. I don't have any advice really. I mean, no one. I don't know.
Because he seems to be doing it right, and a lot of these guys will, you know, the UFC will give them a few days' notice, and they'll just take it, and they'll take however much they get paid, and they'll sort of do what they do. But you're kind of a guy that stands up and, you know, you play the game and you say, look, you know, I deserve to get paid this much and I deserve to be healthy, whereas a lot of guys aren't doing that.
I would suggest to them to definitely read up on some negotiating tactics, you know, negotiation. I think they're just worried about, you know, they're great fighters. They're the best at what they do in that regard, but they got to look out for themselves. And negotiating that's the battle right there as far as, you know, getting paid what you're worth. Yeah, I think that, you know, there's guys that they just take what's given to them, and it's kind of sad. So, I mean, I'm very happy with what the UFC's been giving me now, and if I continue, which I will, on the path that I've been on, we'll keep growing together, and I think that I'll tell you what, I'll either be happy or I'm going to be happy either way. Either I'm going to be happy or I'm going to go do something else. So that's my negotiation tactic right there. Is I will be happy either way.
So while we're talking about negotiations, how did this Cowboy fight come together, and why was this the right one for yourself, Al?
Man, I don't even. How did it come together? I was bugging them for a fight, and then they came to me with the Cowboy, and I said, "Is he in? Did he say yes?" They said yes, so I said, "Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it." Um, Canada. I've never fought in Canada before. I've been there a bunch of times. Ottawa's the capital city. So that factors into everything too. You know, where I'm fighting. If it's like someplace that I would like to go, it's in May, so it's in Canada. It'll probably be a little warmer, and it's a place that I would like to see, kind of check out, the capital of Canada. Um, Cowboy is a veteran of the sport. He's a guy that I've watched growing up when I was not even fighting yet. He's been in there with everybody. He's got when he gets announced, the crowd goes crazy. So it's a huge fight for me in terms of exposure. And he's a tough guy. Everyone respects him. He goes in there and he fights. So he's the guy that I need to beat to really put myself over. And you know, I win this fight and I make it look good. It's gonna be huge for me. And I know if I fight to my capabilities, which I will, it's gonna be a great night for me.
I mean, you mentioned it. He's had his ups and downs, but it really seems like lightweight is the right place for him. Where does he sort of rank to you compared to some of the challenges that you've had recently, guys like Kevin Lee and some of the other guys that you've beaten?
He's just as dangerous as, I mean, every fighter has their own, you know, I got to watch out for his strengths. I got to attack his weaknesses. It's going to be, it has the potential to be a really good fight for the fans. And I understand why the fans are kind of thinking it's going to be that way. I want to go in there and I want to make it look easy. I want to go out there and I want to finish him quick. Everyone's going, oh, fight of the night, this, brawl, that. This is the next. Like, after last week, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go in there and win this thing flawless, make it look easy, you know. But if it does go the distance, I'm more than prepared.
You said that if it plays out the way that you envision it, Al, that it'll do big things for your career. What do you think a win does for you? Because at this point, you'll be on a pretty nice streak in the lightweight division.
Yeah, I mean, it'll put me right up there. I'm not really too analytical of exactly where it will put me, but I'll figure that out after. Depending on how good I look and if I do what I know I can do, which I will, it's going to be a great night for me. It's going to be great.
Do you kind of get a bit of a laugh out of the fact that for a long time, you know, people thought that Cowboy was going to be fighting Conor McGregor? There was so many talks of that, and that fight kind of just disappeared. And now, you know, here you are fighting Cowboy Cerrone, you know, instead of McGregor.
Yeah, I don't know if that was ever even really a fight. That was, I mean, he's everyone that wins. He you know, goes on Twitter and kind of like says a bunch of great things and then comes in with a little remark at the end. So I don't know. I think the Cowboy just bit the hardest on it, and he kind of like entertained it the most. But it seems like everyone was like, you know, everyone wins their fight, then Conor says something, and then everyone's you know, oh, I'm the next one. But nah, he's just clowning everybody. He's a real big mouth lately, you know.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it. Anytime sort of there's a big fight that has to do with him, he'll tweet about it. He'll tweet about fighting the potential guys. That's what he did with Cowboy Cerrone. But one guy that he hasn't really tweeted about much or really spoken about is you. Do you anticipate if you beat Cerrone, when you jump on Twitter afterwards, you'll see something from Conor McGregor? Or do you think he keeps avoiding you and doesn't really even put that out there?
I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Would you want him to?
I'm not really too worried about it. If he's gonna say something, you better sign the con. You better, you know. I'm not gonna be one of these guys that's like, oh, you know, you playing it up and whatever. Like, I'm not gonna wait for him. I'm not really too worried about him. As far as I'm concerned, he's done. He lost to Khabib, right? Look, look at me. This is how it's done. You know, I lost like a man And then I come back and I fight freaking Kevin Lee, who looked like he's been looking like a savage. You know what I mean? And I put him in his place. And now I'm fighting Cerrone. So this is how it's done. It's not done by freaking tweeting and acting like a hot shot. But that's his prerogative, so he can do what he wants.
Al, I was going to say, before we let you go, and we want to let you go so you can check out the game, recently there was a special anniversary of your post-fight interview at UFC Fight Night 63, which kind of stands out in history when it comes to post-fight interviews. After your fight, some of the fans booed, and you gave that epic speech. I'm just wondering, how do you feel about that moment sort of meaning so much to so many fans and people kind of calling it one of the kind of most touching and one of the most memorable post-fight moments in the UFC history?
If I could do it again, I would have went twice as hard at that. Yeah, I would have went twice as hard. But I was, listen, I don't know. That was what it is. That is just, I always sat and watched fights, and then after, if they didn't like the decision, or look, I can get it if like I didn't fight hard or whatever, but I fought hard. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. I guess they were booing the decision, but and Masvidal like made a big deal as he was walking out of the cage. So I think that like hyped up the crowd. But I think it was still a great fight. I still think that the judges got it right. I still think that could you have seen it go the other way? Maybe. But, the second and third round were mine. I got beat up in the first. And the only judge that gave it to him was that idiot Crosby. So, I mean, that guy is like the worst judge in the sport. I don't know how he's still working. But I think that the other two judges, I lost the first round. I won the second and third. And then he made a big deal when they announced me as the look. I root for him every time. I keep, it looks great for me when he wins, and I keep going. So it's good. It's good. It was a good interview. And they have a rule now about me. The ally you can't curse on the mic. So it's pretty cool.
What do you mean? That got implemented after that interview?
Yeah. And after the weigh-ins, they do a meeting backstage, and they always bring me up and they say, no matter what happens, you can't curse on the mic. It's the Iaquinta rule. So I'm in the history books. It's pretty good. I'll take it.
Did you find out because somebody else was fighting and they told you, like, hey, there's a meeting going on, and they called it the Iaquinta rule? Or did you find out because you were in the meeting and they were like,
No, I heard about it. I heard about it forever. Everyone kept telling me about it. And then finally, I fought Kevin Lee in the last Fox show. And Dana comes in the back and he goes, I always give this speech, but now he's actually here. And we talked about the Iaquinta rule, and it was great.
Wow, that is hilarious. That's a legacy right there.
And I was like, hey, Dana, it's the last one on Fox. How about we just get the rule? Who cares? Like, let me curse,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I actually think I did. I tried, but I couldn't hold I couldn't hold it in. I think I cursed on the mic afterwards, but oops.
What did Dana say when he said that? Was he like, go for it, kid, for good times?
No, we were just kind of joking around. We had a laugh about it. It was funny. It was good.
That's hilarious.
It was all good. It was all good fun. But I was glad that I finally got to hear the rule myself in person, and it was good.
I never knew that, and I don't think anyone else did either. So I'm glad we found out about the Iaquinta rule. As we let you go, Al, obviously you got this massive fight against Donald Cerrone, ESPN +8. How do you see the fight playing out? If you had to give a prediction, I don't know if you're a fan of predictions, but if you had to give one, how do you see this one playing out?
Go out there, I'd move, I'd land. I pick shots. They look good. Maybe mix in a takedown. Maybe do some things that you never seen me do before. But either way, I make it look flawless. I make it look good. And then if he holds up, it'll be a 5-round. I'll just be content on beating on him for 5 rounds. If I have to dig down deep and come back, I dig down deep and come back. But no matter how it happens, I'm getting my hand raised at the end.
And then like a million F-bombs on the mic just for ESPN, just to let him know.
Crazy.
Just to let him know who's in. Yeah, let him know who's
on
in.
The mic. And then I come to Sydney, Australia, and I surf Bondi Beach, Byron Bay, go up to Cairns, check out the Great Barrier Reef again. I'm due for an Australia trip.
For sure, and then you can drop
the Gold Coast. I think Gold Coast is next. I gotta get up to Gold Coast. For
sure, and you can drop the C-bomb in Australia as well. So there's a lot of positives about coming back down. The guys, make sure to follow Al on Twitter and Instagram at Al Iaquinta. Make sure to watch him take on Donald Cerrone on May 4th. Oh, what's wrong with me? May 4th or 5th here in Australia on ESPN, on UFC on +8. Al, we appreciate you being on the program. We appreciate you taking a break from the game to give us your thoughts, and we hope you have a delicious home-cooked dinner back home. Thank Mama Iaquinta for us.
She's the best. Islanders are up 2-1. Then they pulled the goalie. There's like 30 seconds left. We're looking good.
It's like an episode of Mighty Ducks. It's like Mighty Ducks 2. They pulled Goldberg.
Goldberg.
We hope that we brought the game some luck, and that when we hang up, they don't start losing horribly.
You want to stay on the phone for 42 seconds?
Yeah, let's hang out. Let's watch this together.
I always wanted to be a Bash brother.
Oh man.
What's your dad's reaction going to be like if because he wants the Islanders to win, right? He's going for them?
Yeah. No, he's definitely. I don't know. I think back in the day he would have went crazy. Now he's just kind of like, all right, good game. But then they got to go. This is just the first round of the playoffs, so they got to keep it going. They got to keep it going.
He better go crazy when you get your wins in the UFC.
I don't know. He looks at me. If my face is beat up, he looks at me and he's just like, oh. I'm like, dude, be happy. I won. He's like, I'm happy. But look at you. You got your eyes are all puffy and whatever. All right, here we go. 42 seconds. You guys really want to stay on?
Well, if there's 42 seconds left, let's just watch out the rest of the 42 seconds. Oh, look,
yeah, he scored. That's it. Game over.
There we go.
Radio.
Look at
The
that.
luck continues.
That's it. All right. I love it.
We'll let you go,
right.
Al. But this is kind of crazy. Couple of guys from Australia sharing a moment with a guy all the way there in the States watching the Islanders. This is beautiful, right? Amazing.
It's great. It's great. Go Islanders. I love it.
Enjoy.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And tune in April 4th. That fight already happened. May 4th, May 5th in Australia. It's going to be a good fight. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
100%. We'll chat to you soon. Good luck, Al. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, Al. Take care, my friend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.